I was sitting here just expecting like an eruption, and nothing happened. All right, let's get into. We're doing another stupid intro. I don't.
Well, I like how these intros have nothing to do with what we're doing at all.
They have everything to do with what we're doing.
Okay. Today we're doing a console tier list. That's right. Console tier list.
Video game console?
A couple of these we've never played, and as we get to them, we're going to put in the category that says
I don't
never
even know
played.
what half of them are.
Well, if you can't read and you see never played and you put in the comments, you never played that? Yeah, that's why it's there. So... Okay, anyway, I think let's go with
get
the first
right into it, yeah.
and we'll just go straight across.
Let's do it.
Some of these, like a couple of these, I don't even know what their names are. Is this a regular PSP?
Yeah, straight F. No, I'm just joking. But
I did play,
yeah, that's the regular PSP there.
I did play this.
I played like a couple of games on it.
Can't really even call it a console.
What was that shooter called? It was on the PlayStation. It was like their exclusive. It was supposed to like rival Halo. I can't even remember what it's called. I almost said Fallout. It's not Fallout.
You know, I almost don't even want to rank this one because I didn't play it enough. I played 2 games on it.
I don't think I played it enough, to be honest with you. I played like 2 games. You know what was funny? When I was younger and I got one used. I mainly bought it for the movies. I would watch it because they had it looked like a game cartridge, but it was the movie, just like a DVD player, and you put it in and watch it. And I used to use that when we traveled.
Was it the first one that could do that?
I think so, especially handheld.
I mean, I feel like that's a really cool feature, and it was like a more advanced Game Gear, like way more advanced.
Yeah.
Game Gear and Game Boy.
Yeah.
Really good for, I guess,
on the road
for kids in the back seat.
Good for traveling.
So, yeah.
When I used to go to wrestling tournaments, that's what I'd do, is I'd put a movie in there and watch it.
So I feel like I don't want to put it at a C.
Probably a B. It didn't have the longest shelf life, I don't think.
And how we're basing this, I guess, just compared to one another, how much we like the console.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it's just going to be our experience because
yes,
we're not like experts with the games.
No, I don't know the exact
dates when they came out. I don't know.
And the features inside the console, I don't like the graphics card.
You could go on the internet. Well, I mean, it had some cool features to it. So I think a B is probably appropriate for the PSP.
It was solid, and it was definitely, I feel like, advanced for its time. But it wasn't, I feel, above these.
What do we got next?
Regular Xbox, it looks like. So this was the first Xbox that ever came out.
I played 360 and Xbox One. This is the only Xbox I didn't play.
Now, the games were...
Obviously, Halo started. Started on it.
That was the first Microsoft console?
I think so.
I'm not counting the PC and the stuff that's on the PC, like Windows and stuff like that, but I think it was the first Microsoft, base console.
Yeah.
You said the Halo franchise started on that.
This one's all you, because I never played the original Xbox.
Gears of War didn't come out on that. It was
that was 360. Yeah.
But that was Microsoft as well. This was the first console that... Well, no, it was the second console.
And obviously Halo being an exclusive.
Mm-hmm. Was this the first generation where you could play online?
I don't remember if they had online play.
GameCube didn't.
No. As far as I know.
But the PlayStation
PlayStation 2 had some online features.
Okay, so this is where online with consoles first started.
Pretty much.
So, okay, in comparison to everything else, I don't think this is above everything here. But for the generation it came out on, I feel like that was like the start
of solid B, probably.
A solid generation of games.
Oh, yeah.
I almost...
You think it should be an A?
I almost want to put it in an A, but I feel like...
It's not a life-altering decision.
Well, I know that.
Just messing with you. But, like I said, I never played it, so...
I feel like I'm going to put it at a B, only because of what I'm going to put it at an A when we get to it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put this one at a B. It's hard for me not to put it in an A because of the franchises that were started on it, and it was the first of its kind.
True.
Microsoft had not had a console yet.
Not as far as I know.
this console right here, I have no idea what this is.
I don't either.
I was gonna say it's the Atari, but I don't. I don't know. I don't know what that is. That could be the Atari with all the games on it. I have no idea what that is. I see the Atari right here. I don't know. I'm gonna
There
put
were
never
several
played.
versions of the Atari, and I don't know them all.
I've never. Yeah. This is the PlayStation 3. This is OU.
Yeah, I was the only one that played the PlayStation 3.
Mm-hmm.
Funny story, I got the PlayStation 3 specifically for The Last of Us. Because at the time it was a. Did they ever do cross console with it? Did The Last of Us go to Xbox? Or is it still exclusive?
I think
can't
it's,
remember, but that's why I bought it at the time. I think the PS3 was a solid console. In terms of. I didn't play tons of stuff on it because right around when I got it is when the new systems were coming out anyway. So I was going to get one of those. But I mainly got it to play The Last of Us because I had heard how good it was. I've always been a big fan of PlayStation. I like the Sony consoles. I like the Sony games. I'd probably put it... I don't know if I can rank it higher than a B because I didn't play it enough.
Oh, well, okay. I feel like it's above Xbox because could you play Blu-rays on the original Xbox?
No, I don't think so. I don't even know if Blu-rays had come out by that time. I wouldn't put it any higher than a B.
Okay, you're the one that played it.
I'd put it at a B.
The original, I think this is original Atari. I know it's an Atari.
Talk about starting at all.
This is really hard to rank because, I mean, how do you want to rank it?
I haven't played tons of Atari game. Okay, let me read it. I've never played an actual Atari console. I've played Atari games on like the rehashes, the home consoles where they have a bunch of games on them. They're fun. They're retro. I know that a lot of retro stuff is making a big comeback. Things like records are coming back. Even old like clothing styles and stuff is coming. It's coming. The mullet of all things is coming back right now.
Okay,
but
not on the console.
Oh, I don't know. But you can put a mullet on the console. But I don't know. It did start everything, so I think that deserves some respect because it started the home console.
I don't want to put it at a C.
If you don't count things like Pong.
I know it's one that started. Actually, I think it started everything.
It did. It started the home consoles.
To be fair, there's one other on here that pretty much started everything, and I think it's this weird box-looking thing right here. I don't know the name of this.
I don't know what that is either.
I saw this mentioned on a video game channel once. I think it was like G4 TV back in the day, and it was like it came out with the Atari and all that stuff, and it.
I feel like based purely out of respect, I'd put the Atari at an A.
Because it started
because
everything?
Of what it did. What do we got?
Nintendo Switch. Now this looks like it's not the Lite. It's the...
The only one I had was the Lite. I got it for Pokemon, and I played Pokemon, and then I got rid of it. But the only reason I got rid of it was because I wasn't going to be able to afford to buy games for the PlayStation and the Switch.
Not to mention, we were getting older at that time, and we basically only had certain games that we played. Like right now, I'm sticking to sports games and Warframe.
But in terms of
because it's all I have time for.
Handheld games, it's probably the best I've ever used.
I would agree with that. I think it's definitely better than the Wii. The fact that it's a handheld game and you can buy a port for it to
for
where you
the
can
TV.
for the TV to where you can play it as
It's like the perfect party console.
definitely. If you want to have a bunch of people over and play, I feel like this is a really good console.
Is it the highest tier or is it?
No, I don't think it's GOAT.
One from the highest, maybe.
I almost want to put this at an S, and I know that would surprise a lot of people because there's certain generation consoles right now that I wouldn't put it in an S.
I think personally, if you're talking about best handheld systems, this deserves an
that
S.
one's yes,
That's the best.
The games definitely has one of the best games I've ever played on it. Breath of the Wild. I didn't think I was going to like that game that much, and it was really good.
What do we got?
So we feel like this is an S, right?
I do. I think it's an S.
GameCube is next.
I see. I never played the GameCube.
I did. This was my first console after the N64, and I wanted to stick with Nintendo because I had a 64 as a little kid. That was my very first console
Yeah.
ever as my own. Something that was mine. Obviously, it was given to me. I didn't buy it at 6.
I'm waiting on you. I'm waiting on you because I don't know what to say about
But this
the
was the first console that I had after I played Time Splitters. There was the first Star Fox where he was on land.
You know what's funny is the only thing I think I remember about the GameCube was Resident Evil 0, and then they upgraded the graphics ridiculously. Like, that's the one thing I remember.
This was where the exclusive Resident Evil 4 came out.
That's right, that's right.
And I remember a lot of people were upset because it, like, reinvented Resident Evil.
Yeah.
And everybody wanted to play it. That was the best game out there when it came out on the GameCube. Yeah. It didn't do a lot else other than just play games. The discs were smaller.
Yeah, they had little tiny discs. Mm-hmm. I remember that.
I have a lot of memories with the GameCube.
It's almost like a nostalgic thing.
The controllers are still used for the Switch when they play.
Are they really?
They're used like as a port when they play Smash Brothers and tournaments and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think you can still use. I think there's wireless GameCube controllers. Correct me if I'm wrong. I may be wrong. I feel like this is a B.
You think it's a B? You don't think it's an A?
I don't think it's a no. I don't think it's an A, because I don't. I feel like it's there with the Xbox, because it came out with that generation, and it started the next generation of really, like, it got rid of the blocky figures in games.
Yeah.
The pixel
more 3D world.
Yes.
What it made.
But I feel like it didn't have any, like, real innovation to it.
Other than graphical.
Yes. Do you think a B is fine?
Yeah, like I said, I never played it, so I can't really rank it.
Now, I could be completely wrong here, so I apologize if I am. I think this is the Game Gear. I can't really tell, but we'll say this is the Game Gear.
Neither of us played it anyway, so
I did.
No, did you play it?
I had a Game Gear. See, I hate putting any console at a C.
I mean, if you think that's where it needs to go.
I felt like this was great back in the day, back in the 90s, when you were a kid and you were sitting in the back seat of your mom or dad's car and you were riding and you had nothing else to do.
See, I never even knew that the Game Gear was a handheld console.
Mm-hmm. And there was stuff like X-Men on there. There were some Ninja games I played. I only had like 5 or 6 games, so I didn't play a ton of it. But I didn't have any. It was like a Nintendo. So I feel like we're gonna have a lot of B's here.
Do you think it needs to go C? Okay, I guess let's do it this way.
I feel like I want to put it with a Nintendo at a C. Or not the Nintendo, the Game Boy, the original Game Boy. But because there's such a nostalgic feel with both of those for me, I almost want to put them at a B.
Sometimes you have to look at things as if, would you go back and play that console? There's old consoles I would go back and play.
I'd go back and play the Game Gear, just for a little bit.
And see, there's ones where I wouldn't. There's ones where I wouldn't go back and play them. The Game Boy, you are right, being one. It was too big and thick and clunky.
The original?
The original Game Boy. I guess, in my opinion, the original Game Boy is a C. You can put it there now if you want, if you agree.
I'm going to put the Game Gear at a B, because it did have color.
Okay.
Game Boy didn't.
That makes a difference.
It came out after the Game Boy, I think. Sonic, I played that a ton on there. I'm going to put it at a B.
Okay.
We just talked about the Nintendo. I agree with you. Was it the first, handheld of our generation?
I'm pretty sure the Game Boy was the first handheld. It might have been the first handheld system ever.
Everybody, when I was a little kid, had one. Because, in a way, this may sound ridiculous to you now, if you're younger and you're watching this, like if you're a kid, but this would be like the modern cell phone in terms of playing handheld games.
Yeah.
Because back then you would have these Game Boy games, and it would be like playing on your cell phone.
Yeah.
And it seems ridiculous now. Didn't you buy an emulator to play old Game Boy games?
Yeah, not the original Game Boy though, like Game Boy Advance. And,
see, that's how old this thing is.
Game Boy Advance, DS. I have some emulators on my phone.
I know this was an original, but I feel like it didn't.
It would. I wouldn't go back and play it.
I wouldn't either. I'd put it at a C.
Plus, how huge and thick it was. It was ridiculous. I mean, that's just the technology at the time. But what do we got?
Nintendo 64.
Which I never played. I didn't have that many consoles. I had specific consoles I bought.
This was the very first Nintendo-based console, I think. And the only game that I really... Well, there's a couple of games. There's the Star Wars Empires game where you played as Dash Rendar. And you went through bases as a... I think it was an FPS.
Yeah.
Or it was a third-person story-based game. You would go through and you'd fight bad guys in bases. And you had to fight Boba Fett as a boss in one level.
I know the N64 is really popular. I've never really heard a lot. I don't know if I've ever heard anybody talk bad about it.
And Super Mario on it. Sarge's Heroes. Really cool games on the N64. The problem is, when I go back and play it, there are certain games I would like to... Okay, I wouldn't go back and play the console, but if I had the ability to play some of the games from back in the day, I would.
So I feel like that gives it at least a B.
So that's the only thing to me that would put it at a B.
Okay, I agree. There's going to be a lot of Bs because, you're not going to have a lot of consoles at the top. You're going to have the specific ones you like.
This is the original Nintendo, right? Not the Super Nintendo?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the original, the NES.
See, me and my dad had the original Nintendo. And this was a big deal to me because when I was at his house, I would wake up in the mornings and he had a game room in there where he had his, like, Charles Barkley stuff because he was a Phoenix Suns fan. He had a little baseball pitch game that I could throw little softballs into.
Yeah.
On the side, he had a basketball goal for me to dunk in. He had a little box TV there for us to play Nintendo on.
Gosh, the old box TVs.
He had some of the old Wheaties boxes in there.
Yeah.
He had stacked. So that room was, like, really special to me. But I feel like I can't just say this console was special to me and then put it high up because it didn't really do a whole lot.
Obviously it introduced Mario.
Yeah.
Mario was a big one. I don't even remember a lot of the other ones. I only ever played Nintendo like once or twice. Not very many times.
When I go back and play the games, not as much as I would say the Super Nintendo. I don't know if me and my dad ever got a Super Nintendo. I know I played the games on there, and I like the Super Nintendo more because of the games.
Yeah.
So, if you don't mind, I'm going to put the Nintendo at a C.
C? Yeah, that's fine.
And the Super Nintendo at a B. That's not saying I dislike.
No.
I know it's at the lowest tier
it's
here.
just, it's just a tier. That's how it works. And you said Super Nintendo.
At a B.
At a B.
Is this... I just figured out... I think with this... Is it the Sega Genesis?
I think so. I think so.
Which one?
Well, you have the Sega, and then you have the Sega Genesis. It's hard for me to tell. I can't see the pictures.
I think this is Genesis on it. If it doesn't, I'm sorry. I can't read the picture that well. You sure there were two different Segas?
I felt like there was, but maybe I'm wrong. I was young when that came out.
See, I never played I played the Genesis.
I played the Genesis because I remember playing Sonic all the time.
So do we want to put this first one and never played?
Yeah,
I don't know
what that is. We can do that if we can't tell what it is.
And we'll say this was the Genesis.
That's okay.
This was the first console I ever beat a video game on. It was Vector Man and Sonic 2 were the first two games I ever beat on my own. And then, of course, I got into Ocarina of Time. I beat that when I was older on the Nintendo 64.
I played the Genesis some. I didn't play video games when I was younger. I didn't get into video games until I was around probably 11 or 12. In terms of me playing them often.
See, I played the Mortal Kombat 2, Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
I mean, there were a ton of games. You know, if I think about it, there were a ton of games that started here and have evolved into franchises that are still around
That's
today.
True. You're not wrong. I think the Genesis is an underrated console, if I'm being honest. I think a lot of times it gets overshadowed by the Nintendo, and I don't think it should.
You know, based on what I just said, I almost want to switch the Super Nintendo to an A and also put the Genesis up there at an A because of what evolved from it.
I mean, if it was my choice, I'd probably put the Genesis in an A. Super Nintendo, I would personally leave it B. But if you
Why
think
though?
it deserves
What distinguishes the Genesis
how much
from
I
the...
like it, that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah,
I played it more. I
I
played
did
it
too. I like the Genesis more. I don't know why. Maybe it was just because of what I had.
It could have been, yeah, because one console we're going to get to is my favorite of all time, and I mean, some people, I know a lot of people like it.
I want to put the Genesis at an A.
Okay.
This, I don't know what this is. I've seen pictures of it. I have no idea what it is. It looks like something out of a sci-fi movie where if you touch it, your soul gets put into it. What am I talking about?
So it's just
Never played.
Never played. What's the next one?
This looks like the original PlayStation. Yeah, that's the original PlayStation.
Okay. Now that was one of my favorite consoles.
Mine too.
It's when I first. That's when I first started playing some video games. The original Resident Evil was one, and I couldn't. I was so scared when I was young. I couldn't beat it.
Yeah.
I told my dad. I said, "Can you beat this for me while I watch it?"
I used to do that with the N64.
I did. I asked him if he would do it.
See, I only had this until way later on when it was really cheap.
Yeah.
It was when the PS2 came out, and this was way marked down like the N64.
Yeah.
And I played like 6 games on it, and then either somebody stole it or I think somebody stole it. But I only played like 6 games on it. I played Gex.
That's when the Final Fantasy started picking up. You got into 7 and 8 and 9 with the PlayStation 1. Yeah, I'm right. Final Fantasy 9 is one of my favorite games. I love that game.
So
Original PlayStation, probably a B. I don't think we could put it quite at an A. I don't think it's quite memorable enough for an A.
I think it's kind of like with the original Nintendo 64.
Probably.
Now this next one, the Dreamcast, right?
I love the Dreamcast.
That is the Dreamcast, isn't it?
That was my first.
I think the problem with this console, the reason why it didn't take off like it did, you said it every time we talked about the Dreamcast. It was go ahead.
It was too advanced at the time.
It was.
There's a lot of stuff that you had with in terms of like there's some games you would play where you had in the controller you had a screen.
I see it.
And there were some games that implemented that. And if you think about a lot of well, not a lot, but some of the consoles now like the PlayStation 4, they have the touchpad and stuff, and it still doesn't show up like on there. But I think it was too different for people at the time, and that's why it didn't take off as much as it could have.
I don't think it really connected with
It didn't. It had the greatest football game of all time on it. It had
Which one?
NFL
2K5?
2K5. Yeah.
2K5 was the best sports game I've ever played.
In my opinion, it's still the best, at least football game ever.
For its time when it came out, it looked like it was
ridiculous.
And the presentation made you feel like you're playing a football game.
The Dreamcast was fun. I can't remember a lot of the games on it. I remember us having one. It was still a little before I really got into video games, but me and my dad had a lot of fun. We played a lot of stuff together on that. I think we played that console together more than anything else I've ever owned.
You know what? I always wanted one, and my dad always talked about getting one. We never did.
And me saying that, if you look at the shelf life and the quality of games on it, I might have to put it at a C.
Because it didn't last very long.
Because it didn't last very long, and that you have to take off for that. Even if I think the features were cool, it didn't work at the time. I would put it at a C.
This is a console that if it came out in a different generation,
I think it would have come out maybe a generation later.
With the GameCube, if it had come out with the GameCube, it might have taken off as a franchise and kept going, like with its more advanced features and stuff like that. I don't know what this is.
Okay.
It looks like a cassette player. I don't know what that is. I mean, obviously it's not, but I don't. I mean, this almost looks like a. I don't know what that is either.
What do we got?
That almost looks like the Genesis. I don't think it is though. I'm pretty sure that is.
It's fine. We use the other one as the Genesis.
The Xbox One. We both played this. Funny story. When the PlayStation 4 had come out, and the Xbox One had been out for a long time, maybe about fourth year. State of Decay 2 was coming out.
Yeah.
And me and James always wanted to play a zombie game multiplayer to where we could go back.
I played State of Decay 1. Have you played did you play the first one?
Oh yeah, I played that game all the time.
Yeah, it was fun.
Where you could get your own people, build up your own society.
Yep.
And now you couldn't do base building like you could in the second one, but I felt like they kind of missed the mark with State of Decay 2. Granted, there's a lot more updates with it, so the game is a lot better now, but when it first came out, it was really disappointing.
Yeah.
The online did not work.
No.
I'd be in a car, James couldn't see me, he'd be down the road getting eaten by a zombie on my screen, he'd be floating in a T-pose down the road. I mean, and you couldn't get as many survivors, which was the funnest part.
Which is weird. I feel like when the second one was they were talking about releasing it, I thought they were going to like way build on that.
Yeah, I did too. And I bought 2 used.
You did? You bought one for each of us?
I
Because I didn't have the money at the time.
No, I bought 2 used Xbox Ones at $150 each, just for that game. And then I bought
It was just for that game.
Now, granted, I went and traded in a bunch of games, God of War and all that other stuff.
And my dad has mine now.
And my dad has mine.
He uses it. So.
Because we both have a PS4.
Yeah.
It just... I almost want to put this at an A.
I think it's probably an A.
Because it can play movies.
It can play movies, and you got all the
streaming everything
stuff. You know,
there's so much that comes with it, and it's the new generation. Not the new generation, because there's the new one that just came out this last year.
Yeah, I think so.
So I want to put it in an A.
I think an A is appropriate for the Xbox One.
Notice the PS5 and the new Xbox aren't on here, so you just have to keep that in mind.
No, we don't have either one of them yet anyway, so.
This looks like Wall-E. I've never played Wall-E.
It really does.
I'm gonna put it on never played. Again, I've seen this mentioned before. I just don't know what the name of it is, and I never played it. PC. If you're gonna put something at a GOAT, I feel like PC has to go up there. It can do so much. It plays almost every game.
True. I'm just not a big. In terms of, I don't like keyboard and mouse. That's just.
I don't either.
That's just me.
But I have played PC games before.
I played PC a lot more when I was younger. Funny enough, war games and stuff like that on there.
But just based with what you can do with a PC, I feel like even this laptop. I know that's really small in comparison to the PC, but I can still play Total War on this laptop.
So I mean, you know,
I feel like this goes at a GOAT because it can pretty much do anything you want it to do.
You're not wrong.
And you can build your own.
And you can build your own.
Is it pricey? Yes. Now you can still get some really good use out of a cheaper build.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about like top end. You can really do a lot of stuff with a PC.
You can save more on it.
There's just a lot more you can do.
You can. I don't disagree with that.
So I want to put the.
I just can't do the mouse and keyboard. I can't.
No, I'm not good with that.
I can't do it.
I have heard a lot of people say that when you get used to it,
it's easy.
I mean, you're really used to it.
And you'll get some of those games like World of Warcraft,
mm-hmm.
where they'll have every button set to something to do on the. I'm like, how do you remember that?
They just do it so much. The Wii U.
Which I know I never played any of the Wii consoles.
Go ahead.
I think the only thing I ever played on any of the Wii consoles was Wii Sports.
That's all I played.
Maybe a Guitar Hero game on one of them.
That's all I played was Wii Sports, so I can't really talk much about this console.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put it at never played. Technically, that's not true, but I don't feel like
I don't feel like I can talk enough about it.
You said this was the 3DS?
Yeah, it has to be. The DS is the only one I can think of with 2 screens, and that's the more advanced one there, so it has to be 3DS, which I never played. Did you ever play the 3D? Did you even play a DS? Because I never played a DS either.
Nope.
The only DS that I can say I've played is I have an emulator on my phone of DS. So and that's not the same thing. I probably put it at never played because it wouldn't be fair for us to rank that.
What Game Boy is this?
Pretty sure that's the Advance. That's the one that came out after the original. It was either... I'm trying to remember. Was it the Color that came out after the original or the Advance? I'm trying to remember if... the Advance was Color. I can't remember now. I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm thinking it was the Game Boy Color, and then the Game Boy Advance. and I used the Game Boy Advance mainly for Pokemon games, maybe a few other ones. It's obviously not as good as the Switch. It's better than the original Game Boy, so a B is probably
Okay.
where I would put it.
Okay.
Because it advanced on the Game Boy enough,
Why is this doing this?
Black, I don't know why it's
That's
doing
weird. Is this the Wii?
I think that's the original Wii, yeah.
Did you ever play this?
I never played the Wii Sports is all I played.
So again, I'm gonna put that in never played. PS4.
I love the PS4.
Still have the
I
PS4.
love the PS4.
This is what I bought when the new generation came
I
out.
love
Before
the PS4.
this is 2020 right
I was
now.
always a PlayStation guy. I love the controller. I know a lot of people don't like they like the Xbox controllers better. I like the PlayStation controllers better. I just like the way it feels. Call me crazy.
I do too.
I
think a lot of people
I
said
would
that.
put it at an S.
Above what? Yeah.
I would.
I liked it more than the Xbox. It was better price wise. I like the games more.
Yeah.
I feel like the PlayStation just
I
had
think
more
the
on it.
exclusives were better.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Now you can say what you want about exclusives. I don't agree with them either.
No.
But
But
in
they
terms of
exist.
what games had, used to, I thought the Xbox had better games, but I think the PlayStation 4 did way better than
I
the
love
Xbox.
PlayStation 4.
So I'm gonna put this at an S
I
too.
would put that in an S.
Is this the PS Vita?
PS Vita, which I never played. The only thing I played was the
I didn't
PSP.
360.
Now, that was the difference between, well, with me, is I've had PlayStation except for the 360, and I bought that so me and you could play together, because that's what you had.
Mm-hmm. The only thing I'll say about this console that I feel like puts it below an A was the red ring.
True, because that happened to a lot of people.
This killed so many consoles when it first came out.
Yeah, I got two
This was the
In a
original
row.
Xbox too.
in a row.
This wasn't the new Slim that came out where they fixed the problems.
Yeah.
This was the original white Xbox, and when it first came out, it was like $600, $700, and I think it was really expensive. Maybe it was the Slim that was like that, but it was at least $500, I think.
It wouldn't. Yeah, that's about right, probably for the time.
And everybody wanted one. The technology wasn't ready, and it just broke on
It just
people.
broke the systems.
And after a year warranty, you would have to spend $200 to get it fixed. You have to send it in.
What do we have in an A right now?
The original Atari, the Sega Genesis, the Xbox One. I feel like because they're
Me, I would put it at an A. It would be below an S for me because of the red ring.
so you were gonna put it in an S.
I would probably put it at an A regardless. Because I still feel like the advancements it made from the Xbox and the games it had on it
That's true.
and the nostalgic feeling of it, I would put it at an A.
I feel like in terms of we talked about
I-
Halo before.
I would say it's as good as all of the ones we have in A. It's as
Yeah.
good of a console.
We talked about Halo earlier. I'll never forget like the memories I have playing Halo because you used to come over
Yeah.
to my house when we were younger, when we were in high school.
There's never been a console that I played online more than the 360.
No.
Ever.
I played Halo Reach so much.
We did, and we started playing online, and we played that all the time and got good at it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm not the greatest at online shooters, but that Halo Reach was easily the best. I was the game that I was the best at.
So let's leave it at an
I think an A is right for it.
A. PlayStation 2. If you want to put any console at a GOAT,
I would put it at GOAT. It's my favorite console ever.
they're still selling the systems.
I think they just stopped. They did just stop.
Okay, well,
But it was going forever.
the fact that when did this come out? Early 2000s?
Oh, yeah.
So when it's been going on for 15 years at least.
And let me count them in my head. It has three of my top 5 favorite games of all time.
Which are what?
Final Fantasy X. Final Fantasy X and X-2. The Kingdom Hearts franchise. Why can I not think of it? I can't even think of what the other one is now.
Well, I know the original. Is this where the first God of War came out?
Yes.
So that started
As a
that.
matter of fact, God of War 1 might have been a what's it called when it comes out with the system? a game that comes
Exclusive?
out, not an exclusive, but
Launch title.
a launch title.
This, I think you're right. And you could also play Blu-rays on this.
You could, and this console started. It was really, and it wasn't the greatest, but it started online play. I remember even up to now, I think, or even like a year or two ago, there was still a gaming community for SOCOM that played SOCOM online on the PlayStation 2. And if you're talking about a 20-year-old console, I would put it GOAT. I would. It's my favorite console ever.
In terms of consoles, I feel like with how long this thing was out there,
and it would last. I mean, it would last.
Yes, I never saw one break.
No.
Like in terms of just use,
No.
I've never seen one just go out.
You could leave them on all day with the fan going, and it would never shut. It would never stop.
A really good console. The DS we never played.
Never played.
So the PlayStation 2.
I feel like PC, we got it right. I think those are the PC. You are right because of the versatility.
I feel like the stuff we have at A and S, people would probably disagree with,
which is fine.
I feel like nothing on here is lower than a B. Really, the only reason why we put these at a C,
it's because of the replayability. I think.
Yeah, the Game Boy. The Game Boy to me is truly. If there was an F on here, I would put the Game Boy in an F because I don't think I would ever go back and touch that. At the time, was it good? Yes.
It's so hard to play stuff without color.
It was just. It's so simplistic. It doesn't make it bad.
It was innovative.
It's just, to me, if there's anything on here that's lower than everything else, I would put the Game Boy.
Probably.
The Dreamcast, you almost want to put that down there with it because it didn't have longevity to it. No. But that doesn't make it bad. It's just because...
it just didn't work.
It wasn't ready for the time.
It didn't work. It was a Sega experiment. It was after the Genesis.
So that's our tier list
yeah.
for consoles. We had our 2 HeroClix tier lists that came out. Not like this tier list, but we ranked them on our own.
Similar.
So, I mean, if you like what we're doing here,
hit that like button.
Give us a thumbs up and let us know. Give us some ideas.
Comment.
Some content you'd like to see. Maybe we could even film us playing a game.
That's the main thing. Comment. And if you want to see like a playthrough of something, you'll see on the channel I started a Final Fantasy X, and then we kind of stopped with the channel for a while. If there's a game you want to see, let us know, and if we're able to do it, we can at least attempt to do it.
Yeah.
Or if there's like an online game you want to, if you want to see it, well, I'm not going to say that because I don't want to rage. I was going to say if you want to see us rage, but
yeah, we'll play Bloodborne and get no deaths.
No.
And we won't sleep until we get no deaths on the entire.
You can do that. I'm no. Anyway.
Yeah, that was our tier list. Thank y'all for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.
Have a good day.
Yeah.